Here's what I've learned over time. The best gear doesn't make the best coffee. The best mechanic doesn't make the best coffee. The best roaster doesn't make the best coffee. It's the best feedback loop that makes the best coffee. It's all of them together and informing each other and growing as one entity rather than a bunch of individual parts. If you don't know who I am, I'm Bryce Hemorich. I own and run a coffee roasting business and a coffee shop, and I do a lot of shade tree espresso mechanic work. So I do have my hands on everything in a professional way. For simplicity, let's break it down into three main categories. You have your roaster, you have your barista, and you have your tech. Now, most people ignore the tech part. I'm going to tell you why that's bad. Your roaster usually sets your flavor ceiling for everything. Your barista is the one who enacts the flavor ceiling of the roaster, and your tech makes sure that both of those have the correct equipment and maintenance to actually achieve the highest end of the results they can get. What I found is the best roaster doesn't make the best coffee. The best barista doesn't make the best coffee. The best technician doesn't make the best coffee. It's whenever you have a good feedback loop where all three of these are informing the other, where things truly start to shine, even in a home setting. When I started roasting, I really thought of all these as separate rather than as one big feedback loop. Roasters roast, baristas brew, techs fix thing, right? Makes sense. But the truth of that is that the separation, if we decide to sever all of these ties, you end up getting very big blind spots in your brewing process. Roasters don't taste things like baristas do, and baristas don't brew often in the way that roasters do, and techs are kind of doing their own thing, let's be real for a second. They don't talk to anyone. So, yeah, they're not usually very helpful. Myself included. Now, I got tired of chasing answers from those three different sources, trying to somehow circle the drain and hone in on what you might call a perfect cup right here in the middle. So, I decided to learn all three of these for that control, for the sake of the whole process, and to figure out how you actually do come to what you might call a pragmatically perfect cup. By pragmatically perfect, there are always different styles of coffee. There are always different ways you could have brewed it. But for the sake of enjoyment, it is perfect. It's smooth, it's balanced, it's got unique flavor, it's whatever you wanted it to be in that moment. And the only way you can really create a flavor identity that is unique to you and exactly what you wanted is with the marriage of these three in one big feedback loop, constantly informing the whole process to get to your perfect cup right here in the center. I believe that mastering the roast, the barista, and the technician side of things gives you an edge in this business and even just in your home enjoyment that nothing else really can. If you're serious about coffee as a business, a ritual, a hobby, or just something to keep your mind off of life, this is a great way to start thinking of it, where you do have the tech, the roast, and the barista all speaking in the same circles. This will give you my framework to yield results that actually have mattered in my coffee shop, in my roasting business, and as a technician. Whenever I first got into roasting, I did what pretty much everyone does. You join a Facebook group, hearing people talk about it, download artisan roasting software, Cropster, and watch a bunch of YouTube videos. And what you end up finding is you'll produce some kind of graph that looks like this, and you got a charge temp in one color, and it'll do that. And you really want your ROR to do something like this, and that's usually how it ends up looking. It's not perfect, but there's all these theories out there, and then you get set off, go, have fun, enjoy, try to figure it out on your own now. Whenever I was serving these, I got either blank stares or even worse, polite compliments. I knew what they were actually saying, because roast curves are great for data, and these theories on a Nordic roast are very helpful to learn, but drinking is sensory. My time as a roaster taught me to think in data and profiles, but my time as a coffee shop owner taught me to think in people. I stopped roasting to impress other roasters or impress my coffee snob friends. And I decided I would start roasting for the way that people actually drink coffee. It's often distracted or tired or in a paper cup or with a crying baby in the other room. So while the graph above might represent the roast profile and the technical side. Let's say this blue here is how much you can enjoy a cup based on how much you know and how good you are as a roaster. But then there's this weird people element where the more they might be able to enjoy quite a high ceiling normally, but then, oh no, my job went bad, or oh no, I'm having a fight at home, or oh no, we lost the house. I'm kidding. But you get the idea. As people end up having stress in life and just need it to be either quick fix or an escape from the world, their ability to enjoy it in the way that roasters present it goes way the heck down. And so, while it is certainly important that we know about double anaerobic processes and carbonic maceration and all that good stuff, what really ends up mattering at the end of the day is someone's enjoyment. Now, roasting and roast theory teaches you how to make an excellent cup of coffee from a technical perspective, but it doesn't teach you how to be a good host and teach enjoyment of the craft. So, you would think that baristaing is next, right? But actually, it's not. It's fixing machines. Here's what I didn't expect about fixing machines. Fixing espresso machines taught me more about brewing than most brewing classes ever did. As I learned more about the espresso machine and the brewers and all of these things, how to fix them, how the water actually flows, how the temperature works, what breaks first and what breaks scarily and what isn't actually scary, I kind of stopped brewing scared. I stopped worrying about messing things up. I was willing to experiment a lot more, not be afraid of my gear, afraid of my machine, and all that goes into it, and things became a lot simpler. You kind of stop questioning every single variable that goes into it, and you start to understand how the major parameters affect the cup. You can start to taste it a little bit more, and you adapt to it. And that confidence doesn't come from brew guides, it comes from hands on experience, often with a wrench. It comes from understanding your machine from the inside out. Whenever you have to completely rebuild a coffee grinder right in the middle of a Saturday rush for an event, you kind of stop worshiping your gear as the end all be all. Now, being a gear maximalist is awesome, and I actually recommend that. But you realize that they are tools. Much like a Knipex plier, these are simply tools to yield to an end. So it comes back on the personal side. I heard a phrase a long time ago that has really stuck with me, and it's the problem with my espresso is on the handle end of the portafilter. It is me. Once you have mastered your gear and understand it in its proper context, and also what it can and can't do so you don't get unrealistic expectations, it helps you stop chasing ghosts and start chasing actual problems, and then get into being a great barista. Brewing is the final mirror into what the roaster and the tech have done. You have your gear and your beans in line, and now you're trying to express that into the world. Make it something for people to actually consume, whether that be you, a spouse, or in a commercial setting. Roasting is fully upstream and the mechanic is below deck, and now you are kind of captaining this ship for people. And like I said earlier, the way people enjoy coffee is very much dependent on all of these life circumstances. Sometimes they can't enjoy it nearly as much as you can, and it has nothing to do with their level of knowledge for it. It's simply the way the world is at the moment or how life is going for them. Sometimes you're going to wake up on the wrong side of the bed, and what you need is not a clinically perfect cup up here. What you need is something right here in the center that is much more calm and comforting. This might be my super floral and somehow fruity anaerobic. But sometimes you might just need a smooth medium. Admittedly, the smooth medium roast is actually the building block of our coffee shop and roasting business. It's just something that I call a no gripes blend. It doesn't have to be complicated, it just has to be dang good. And it is dang good at what it is as a medium roast that's relaxing, it's comforting, it's very, very pleasing, but it's also not going to overwhelm you with crazy flavors. That's intentional. That's the way I like my coffee. Maybe that's because I'm a technician and I have no soul left Or maybe it's because it's just enjoyable. I brew every single day, not to impress anyone except for myself and my regulars. All I want to do is make people happy. And sometimes that comes down to knowing where they are and recognizing that they need a smooth medium roast rather than a fruity floral anaerobic. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that there's never time for stuff like that. For some shops or some people, that is the only thing you will ever need. But it's about the enjoyment at the end of it. Just because someone has a super light Nordic roast versus a dark Vienna, so death before dark roast is an okay motto. Um, I don't think that either one of them is right or wrong. I think if you can maximize your enjoyment, that is the whole point of this. Yes, it is a science, but it is also an art. And if you lose the craft to the science, you are failing as a coffee person. That's the way I feel. You can disagree and argue with me in the comments. Now, if you have been watching this and you're like, man, I only know how to barista, or I only know how to roast, or I only know how to work on things, that's fine. That's why I'm here. I've done it all, I've seen it all, and I'm just sharing what I've learned over time. You can agree or disagree, but I will show you the exact tools I use every single week, whether I'm working on machines or cars or baristaing, because it turns out every barista needs to know a little bit about maintenance. Or you can blow up your machine. That's fine too. That's great. Go ahead and do that. Or watch this.